We're going to begin by talking about trigonometric functions of acute angles. Now, an acute angle is less than 90 degrees. So let's begin with drawing an acute angle on our XY coordinate right here. Now, trigonometry, we learned yesterday, we learned in our first lesson, is the study of the measure of triangles. So what I want to do to help us find these is I want to make a right triangle right here. Now, this point at the top of the triangle I'm going to label XY because our angle goes through that point. And we're going to revisit our old concept of SOHCAHTOA, which helps us find the measures of trigonometric functions of acute angles. And we're going to identify our acute angle right here as theta. It's going to be at the origin. Now this only works with acute angles. It doesn't work with larger angles. It has to be a right triangle. So if we remember the SO part, opposite over hypotenuse. Now let's first label this. My triangle is x units on this side and y units. And if we find the length of the hypotenuse using the Pythagorean theorem, we're going to call this r. Okay. Now, SOHCAHTOA, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Now, the side that's opposite of my theta is y, and my hypotenuse is always going to be r. So, sine is y over r. Cosine, adjacent to the angle. So the side that's adjacent to theta is x, and that's also over the hypotenuse. And then tangent is opposite over adjacent. And so that means we're going to have opposite, which is y, over our adjacent side, which is x. Now, cosecant, secant, and cotangent are all reciprocals to sine, cosine, and tangent. And so we're just going to think of this as just the reciprocal of these. So we would just flip these over. So whatever sine is, flip it over, make it 1 over cosecant, 1 over sine, 1 over cosine, and then 1 over tangent. Now these reciprocals, these are necessary. You need to memorize these. These are not on formula sheets, so memorize these. Alright, so we're going to use our trig functions that we learned about to find some values. Now let's look at our triangle here. We've got, here's our point. This point is 4 something. We don't know what the something is. We don't know what y is. So we're going to begin with finding our y value by using the Pythagorean theorem. So I have 4 squared plus y squared equals 5 squared, and which gives me y squared is equal to 25 minus 16, which is 9. So y is 3. Okay, so that's important to know. So sine, opposite over hypotenuse, opposite of theta is 3. And then there's hypotenuse of 5. And then our cosine, adjacent is 4, hypotenuse is 5. And then tangent, opposite over adjacent, so 3 over 4. And then for our reciprocal functions, all we do is flip them over, like that. So these are all reciprocals. Now, the last slide I have for you, we're going to find the values of the 6 trigonometric functions of an angle theta in standard position whose terminal side passes through 3, 4. So here's our point right up here. All right, 3, 4. So that means x is 3, y is 4. We don't know what r is. So Pythagorean theorem again. Y squared plus 4 squared equals r squared. 9 plus 16 equals r squared. So 25 equals r squared. So that means r is 5. Same thing. Opposite over adjacent. Now this looks a lot like the previous slide because it has the same numbers, but my x's and y's are switched. So we're just going to deal with it. So the opposite of my theta is 4, so we have 4 over 5. Adjacent's 3 over 5 again, and then we have 4 over 3. And then for our reciprocal functions, we're just going to flip everything over. 5 over 4, 5 over 3, 3 over 4.